Listen, Ross, I say this with the utmost respect. I say this with a lot of respect. Just shut up. Just shut up. No one believes your apologies, bro. Yo, what's up, everyone? My name is Jet. Welcome back to episode of MDK Racing Victory Stop. Monday afternoon, typical Dover race. It was a classic NASCAR race. I really enjoyed this one of the best of the year. Now, I'll be honest, I wasn't able to see all of it because, of course, the race happens in the middle of my final exam. So, stage 2, I didn't get to see, but I did see stage 1 and stage 3. And from what I saw, very entertaining, a classic NASCAR race. It had everything you wanted. It had comers and goers. The right driver won. It had a lot of drama, great pit strategy, and it was a clean race, and it was really enjoyable to watch. Now, of course, there was a lot of unknowns heading into this race because of what we saw practice on Saturday. A lot of tire issues. You saw a lot of drivers that were losing tire wear at an excessive rate, already cording after just 10 or 15 laps already. So there was a lot of concern going into Monday about how will a green racetrack affect tires, and didn't really affect tires at all, but there was a lot of drama to begin the race in its early stages. Lap 28, Noah Gragson spun off of turn number 2, then lap 34, Daniel Suarez lost a tire coming off of turn number 4, and he crashed. Ty Dillon smacked the inside wall a ton, and also BJ McLeod was involved, and also Kyle Busch. Now, Kyle Busch, he started on pole, led the first 20 or some odd laps until the competition caution. When he came onto pit road, he was caught speeding, too fast entering, and got sent to the back and got caught up in that Daniel Suarez crash. After that, we saw the first two big contenders, and that was William Byron and Denny Hamlin. They separated themselves from the field after that crash with Daniel Suarez, and lots of rubber was being laid down on the racetrack, drivers picking different lanes. Again, classic NASCAR, what we like to see at intermediate 1-mile tracks. And then lap 81, Ross Chastain does what he does best. He Chastains the field, and this time it was Brendan Poole and Kyle Larson that got Chastain. They were victims. Going into number 1, Chastain just runs over Brendan Poole. Poole goes sideways and comes up right in front of Kyle Larson, who at that point in time was the fastest driver on the racetrack. Both of them, Poole was out of the race, and then Larson was out of contention to compete for at the very least, have a competitive finish. Larson was mad at him, obviously on the radio, threw a couple expletives at him. Chastain once again with, the apology tour. Again, he apologized on the radio, and he apologized after the race during his interview. But I gotta say this, Chastain, just stop apologizing. Honestly, just stop apologizing. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But after the 10th time, just shut up. I'm sorry, but none of us believe you. I don't believe you're truly sorry because you've done it over and over and over again. I understand Chastain is a very aggressive driver. I like that. But when you go over the line, and you go over the line a lot, just stop apologizing. It's who you are. You're not going to change. We just have to accept that. Now, here is an issue I have for the field. Brendan Poole said that someone needs to kick his butt. That ain't going to happen. I don't know why, but with the Cup Series, a lot of the drivers talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. Chastain has had so many issues with so many different drivers, yet only one of them has really truly gone back at him, and that was Denny Hamlin. And that was only one time at Pocono. Chastain did Hamlin dirty, I think 2 or 3 times. Hamlin only got back once. But this time, Kyle Larson was able to get back at Chastain, and he did it in, he didn't do it in a dirty way. It maybe not from a purist perspective, but it was understandable. I mean, hell, Fox even put up a thanks Ross graphic when they were doing the race recaps. That's how bad it's gotten when even the network is even calling you out on your BS. But anyways, Kyle Busch stayed out after that crash and then fell back quickly like a rock, even went 1 lap down. Radioing his right rear tire was getting really, really bad, gives the lead back to William Byron, who wins stage 1. Stage 2 was all about Byron and Chastain. Stage 2, I believe, was green flag the entire way. Byron led up until the first round of green flag pit stops in that stage. Chastain this time was emerging as a top race contender. They both pit around the same time. Chastain was able to get out ahead of Byron, and Chastain would go on to win stage number 2. But stage 3, this is when Truex Jr. came to play. Now, Gibbs around this time, the entire race had fast cars. They had it with Hamlin. All 4 JGR cars were all around the top 10. Even Ty Gibbs was having a very solid race in the top 10 near the closing laps of the race. So we knew that all 4 had speed. But Truex Jr., we know how good he is at Dover. He already had 3 wins up to this point in time. He had the fastest car of all the Toyotas. But with 65 laps to go after both Truex and Chastain pits, Truex blends out ahead of Chastain. But Chastain's keeping in tow until Kyle Larson gets his revenge. He's running multiple laps now, obviously much slower than the leaders, holds up Chastain and does a very effective job of holding up Chastain and letting Truex go, so much so that I believe he held Chastain by about a second or 2 behind Truex. So Chastain, even though it seemed as though that Chastain may have had a faster car, him having Larson certainly did not help, and he lost a ton of ground. Then on top of that, Truex's teammate Ty Gibbs, who at that point in time was in fuel conservation mode, he started to hold up Chastain just a little bit. So Chastain had just a bunch of enemies. He had no allies, no one to help him around. He was just surrounded by enemies trying to screw him. But we were eventually able to get a bit of a dogfight between Truex and Chastain in the closing laps, and with help from lap traffic, really brought the gap close once again. It was set up to be a great battle to the finish, until a caution comes out, because it's the Cup Series, and a late caution somehow happens in every race this season. With 8 laps to go, Logano either lost a tire or just lost a car in general, smacks the outside wall to bring out the caution, leading us to an 8-lap shootout. Now, because of this, Chastain lost, I believe, 3 or 4 positions since he took 4 tires. Blaney and Truex, they took 2 tires. So when the restart happened, you had Truex and Blaney on the front row and Chastain at 3rd place. A good side-by-side battle between the 19 and the 12 for about a lap or 2 before Blaney falls off. And Chastain, he's coming, but he wasn't able, surprisingly, even though on those 4 fresh tires, he wasn't able to catch up and pass Truex. That clean air was just too much for Chastain to handle. Truex holds off to win at Dover for the 4th time in his career, snapping about a 53 or 54 race winless streak. And a cool little statistic, this is the first time that the Truex brothers sweep the weekend. Obviously, yesterday or on Saturday, his brother Ryan Truex won his first Xfinity race at Dover, and also both drivers won in the 19 Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. So that's a cool little way to wrap up the weekend for the Truex family. Here's a look at the race results. Truex wins, Ross Chastain in 2nd, Ryan Blaney in 3rd. William Byron led 193 laps. The most laps out of anyone in the race, comes home in 4th. And Denny Hamlin, after having a slow pit stop in the final few laps of that race, comes home in 5th. Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, Brad Keselowski, Chris Buescher, RFK drivers, 8th and 9th. And round of the top 10 is Josh Berry. Man, Josh Berry once again proving me. I said this earlier in the week when it was announced that he would replace Alex Bowman, that he is capable, I think, of being in the Cup Series in a competitive ride, and he is showing that, coming out with the top 10 finish. Nice run for the 48 crew. Chase Elliott in 11th and Bubba Wallace in 12th. He had a bunch of tire issues early in the race. Comes home in 12th place. The last driver on the lead lap, and then everyone on back, either 1 or multiple laps down. Ty Gibbs, Corey LaJoie, nice top 15 finish for him. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Eric Jones, Ryan Preece, AJ Allmendinger, Kevin Harvick, another driver that had a bunch of tire issues early in the race. And round of the top 10 is Harrison Burton. Kyle Busch, again, multiple tire issues, comes home in 21st. And then you see the rest of the field. You see Eric Almirola, 24th. Austin Cindric, Austin Dillon, 26th and 27th. Briscoe, just, I don't know what happened with him, but my God, he was horrible. 30th place, minus 22 laps down. Joe Logano, 31st. Kyle Larson, 32nd. And finally, there you see Noah Gragson, 34th, and Daniel Suarez, 35th, and Ty Dillon in last place. And yeah, not much else to talk about in this race. I kind of already repeated the points I'm going to be making earlier in the video, but again, I thought it was a really solid vintage NASCAR race. Long green flag runs, a lot of comers and goers, great pit strategy, great passing, drivers racing in different lanes. Even the broadcast from the race, from the portions that I saw with Joy, Wallace, and Boyer, I thought was really, really nice. I don't like the fact that they keep cutting off a commercial as soon as a crash happens, because we still haven't digested what has happened, but that's really my only complaint. But I really enjoyed everything about the race from what I saw. I didn't get to see stage 2, but stage 1, stage 3, I thought were very entertaining, and I really, really enjoy that. So I give it a 7.5, 8 out of 10. I thought it was just a really typical, clean, solid NASCAR Cup race. Really nothing really to complain about it, except Ross Chastain, because Again, I like that he's aggressive, but please just stop apologizing. And I'm surprised the fact that he only apologized to Brennan Poole. If you read or if you listen to the interview, he only apologized to Brennan Poole. He didn't apologize to Kyle Larson, which, I mean, to be fair, Larson got caught up in Chastain's mess. So I feel like it's only right to apologize to him also, but yeah, it was really solid race. I had a lot of fun watching it. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it too. Truex, he had been knocking on the door for a little bit, so I'm not surprised to see him finally pull through to go into victory lane. I believe that's the 8th different winner in 11 races, and we still have, what, 15 to go in the NASCAR Cup Series regular season, and we got a lot of exciting tracks coming up next weekend. Kansas. Last time we went to Kansas, another driver knocked his way into the playoffs. That was Kurt Busch, and we also had another driver in the 45 car, Bubba Wallace, win the last time we were at Kansas in the fall. So another mile and a half racetrack, Kansas. I love Kansas, always producing really solid racing, and I'm very excited to see what happens there. But that's all for this episode. Thank y'all so much for watching. What do you think about the race? Let me know in the comment section down below. Until next time, my name is Jet from MDK. Congratulations to Martin Truex Jr., your winner at Dover.